star oracles, and I finally thought of a topic that I could turn into a series on YouTube. And so that topic is Rahu, the North Node, transiting over natal planets in the birth chart. So this is a transit that I always wanted to find other astrologers' interpretations, like maybe a book written about transits over, like nodal transits over planets. But I could never really find much on it. I could find a lot of about the nodes transiting through houses, which are, also very significant, but planets not so much. So I, kind of had to do the digging myself and, eventually learned that these are, quite interesting times in a person's life because Rahu is such a chaotic energy, but also, very fated energy. So I'm looking forward to making my way through all the planets. And today I'm going to talk about Rahu's transit over Venus. So let me just start with, Rahu, which is associated with activities outside of social norms and, social activities that could have some social risk, taboo activities, fraudulent things. Rahu is that area of life where we don't have good clarity about. We don't have clarity or experience. And generally there's a disregard for Saturn's rules and making methodical, slow, thought out approaches to things. So, like I said, very chaotic. And Venus, of course, represents so much, but the main things is our ability to make good decisions and weigh the value of, the things that we get involved in life, especially the value of relationships and our equal exchanges with other people is our effort, is the effort we're putting in giving us the appropriate return, and are we getting a sense of fulfillment from the things that we're involved in? Because Venus, the health of a person's Venus is very much has to do with a person's capacity to feel fulfilled from the things that they're involved in life. So that said, when you have Rahu transiting over your natal Venus, a person is obviously very focused on relationships. They the desire nature, the desire to find fulfillment, to get fulfillment from another person, which of course includes romance and sex, that really becomes amplified. So I see people going through this transit making a lot of usually poor decisions when it comes to relationships because the judgment becomes so clouded, and it's more about getting those base, or I don't know if I want to say base desires, but it's definitely more about getting desires fulfilled rather than a more holistic, rational view of a relationship with someone. I never recommend a person get into a relationship during this transit, even though they're very focused on relationships usually. And it's just because many times the decisions that are being made are not worth the sacrifices to have the relationship, or whatever else is happening with that relationship. It just never seems to be worth it, and it always seems to be driven by a hole that exists in us, something that you know, it needs to be cleared or like brought to the surface and addressed or like made aware of. So it's like a person during this time is taking an approach to relationships to get something met that they're not meeting within themselves in some way. And you know, that's probably one of the more helpful ways of thinking about this transit is to have the perspective or just the awareness that Rahu shows us our blind spots. And when Rahu is transiting over a planet, like I really find that that's a theme that comes up, is we see through the decisions we make or the circumstances we find ourselves in, we're really made aware of some of our blind spots that, you know, with that planet that it's transiting over. So with Venus, it'll be blind spots with your self-worth or with your relationship to women or sex and relationships, like romantic relationships. So there's all kinds of stuff to learn when this transit happens. I see people just getting really obsessive about the people that they're dating, and or like I said, you know, having affairs. This might be a time when a couple decides that they want to have like an open marriage, because Rahu is causing all that stuff. And you know, I've seen people, this is when they'll leave their family for like a lover or something, and that just kind of goes back to what I said with the decisions that are made during this time. It's like when it comes to relationships are so rarely worth it, because it can hurt. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen if you're at an age where you have teenagers and your teenagers see you leaving your the other partner for a new lover. Like, it'll hurt your relationship with your kids, or it'll hurt your reputation like in some other way. Like I said, with Rahu creating events with, you know, social risk, events that could lead to having some type of social risk. But you know, everyone's different. Everyone has like a certain temperament. There are some people who are more governed by their passions, and they just have a different way of dealing with intrusive thoughts, or like when they suddenly feel like something that is maybe out of character for them, they some people just kind of really get carried away. They get taken away with it, and I think it depends on other things in the chart, which house Venus rules in the chart. Like, you know, there's going to be other things that can tell you whether this transit can really cause like a blow up, or if a person is just going to go through a period of time when they really start looking at their relationship in a deeper way when it comes to like their needs getting met, or their sexual satisfaction. It's always nice to see these transits and then use them as opportunities to maybe check in with a partner, and use it as a growth period if you are in a relationship and you know your partner's going through this, or you're about to go through it, because Rahu's gonna shake things up. I recommend having conversations about like checking in with your partner on the relationship before this transit happens, um once a person's under the influence of Rahu, um it can make you not feel quite like yourself. Your unhappiness with your desires might suddenly feel very big, and you don't want to work on it with your partner anymore. You want to just go out and find, your fulfillment elsewhere. Because that's just what this Rahu guy wants to do. He wants to get his needs met right then and there. And so yeah, I would recommend working on things before this transit occurs, or having like important conversations about, do we both feel like we're getting what we need? How is intimacy, and other things like that. When it comes to the influence of these transits, like if we want to rank it based on duration, they're almost as long as Saturn's. I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but Jupiter is like a year, Saturn's roughly 2 years, and this transit is roughly 18 months. So there is a lot of time, there's a decent chunk of time for a person to really kind of experience the fullness of it, the dissatisfaction or the awareness of things missing from Venus when Rahu transits over it. And then there's a chunk of time to act out, to act crazy, to make poor decisions, and then by the end of it, you could be in a totally different place. And it's just worth thinking about that when you go through these Rahu transits, it is meant to show you it's meant to show you like things that need to be worked out, because it is the evolution of our consciousness. And when I said it's a fated planet, like I do feel like the events that come up when Rahu is transiting a planet is meant to bring about events that are really going to make you open your eyes and show you your limitations, or just your flaws, or whatever needs to be cleaned up. And so if you feel crazy, like right now you kind of are, if you have this transit when it comes to Venus, or you might feel crazy when it comes to Venusian things. And or you might just be one of those people that really aren't don't make rash decisions, and you just experience it as very internal, and you're not taking your internal feelings and going out and making making choices based on those feelings. That always seems to be the safest thing is when a person doesn't act out on their impulses. But what else was I going to say? So to summarize this transit, Venus, the judgment becomes clouded, especially around Venusian things. We get a stronger, the desire nature becomes a lot stronger. a person in a relationship that is not meeting their needs or making them happy, they'll be very susceptible to having affairs or trying to get their needs met in a way that is risky. This could be a sexual, just like a sexual development period where a person learns a lot about their sexuality and how they want to express it, and what they want, what their needs are in regards to sex. And there is I think that's it, like making relationship decisions based on a deep need and a hole perhaps, and not on like a more healthier part of not it's for, okay, here's a better way of saying it: making relationship decisions based on a lack of fulfillment rather than feeling fulfilled and just wanting to share that fulfillment with somebody else. All right, so I hope I don't think of like a bunch of stuff I want to add to this once I publish it, but if so, I will write an article about it. If you haven't been to my website, staroracles.com, you definitely should, because that's where I make my posts. I will add a link to all that, and I look forward to making more videos on Rahu's transit over other planets. Okay, thanks.